So what do you do if a coworker steals your work? I'm going to teach you two different approaches that you can take to make sure that you always get credit for your work. My name's Tess Brigham. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and board certified coach, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm here every single Thursday with lots of support and advice and tips and guidance for young adults like yourself. So let's get started. So we've all had at least one moment in our lives where we felt like someone stole something from us, right? Took credit for our joke, took credit for our work, you put their name on something that you work so hard for. This is something that across the board, I haven't met anybody who hasn't had some sliver of this sort of experience in their life. And I first want to say that it can make you feel so incredibly angry and powerless. And I first want to say that you have every right in the world to be mad, to be angry, to want to feel like I need to get even with this person. Now, you have the right to all those feelings. Those are all okay feelings to have. They're not feelings that I suggest that you act on, which is why when you first learn that someone is taking credit for your work, I would really urge you, give yourself at least 24 hours to calm down, to process. If you feel like I can't wait that long, at least 12. Give yourself several hours to process the feelings, to let yourself be angry, to stomp and kick and be mad and frustrated, to, think about the ways that you're gonna exact revenge, and then say to yourself, okay, there's a better way. Because trust me, getting angry, yelling and screaming, going after revenge, those things, the revenge part especially, that only happens in the movies. It only works in the movies. If you go about doing it this way, you might create a big, huge problem for yourself. So you have the right to be mad, but after a certain amount of time, you allow yourself to process the feelings, and then you can start working on how to really address the issue. So as I mentioned, there are sort of two different approaches that you can take. You can take both of them or one. So the first one I want to say involves other people. So the first approach is really when I say involves other people, it means going to the person who took credit for your work, who, might have put their name on something that you did, that you were there late night working hard, sweating away at, and they weren't there at all, and now they're taking credit for it. I would approach them directly, and as much as you want to just get in their face and go at them really, oh, I can't believe you did that, the best approach to take is from a place of curiosity, right? Take a deep breath and ask them and say, I'm really curious about what happened over there, because you said that we did all of this, and I'm a little confused about what your role is in this project. Really put it back on them to explain why they took the credit. That curiosity and the asking questions, it's a very subtle way of showing them, like, you're not accusing them, because if you accuse them, they're instantly going to get defensive and deny or gaslight or do something like that. But getting curious, asking questions, what you're doing is you're saying to them, I see what you're doing. I'm acknowledging it. I'm not okay with it. So we're going to talk about it. And that way, once you're talking to them about it, maybe it might not change this particular situation right now. It might be too late, but it shows them that you're paying attention, that you're willing to say something, you have the guts to say something, and that you're not going to let it slide. And then that's your moment where you can really set a boundary with them around, like, hey, next time something like this happens, I want to talk about it ahead of time. Or next time we're going to present to the group, I think you and I need to get on the same page about what your role is and what my role is. All right. That's the first thing that you can do if you want to involve other people. The second one is you could go to your manager or boss. This one is always a little trickier and a little bit tougher. I don't know your particular work situation, so I think it is so different for everybody. But you have to be, again, it's the relationship that you have with a coworker. It's the relationship that you have with your boss. And so I would say to you, really think this through and talk to someone that you really trust at the company or a mentor at the company before you go to your boss and create this and make this claim. Because once you go to your boss and you make this claim, It might be something that might become bigger than you want it to. And it's really important that you feel comfortable with whatever your choice is. So just think it through first. So that's when you can involve other people. The other option is, and it might be a good stance to take first, is really it involves you, which is how do you change your presence at the company? How do you speak up for yourself more? What I'm talking about is speaking up more in meetings, not just sharing ideas with one person and letting them steal them and run with them. But like when you have a great idea, bringing it up to a group, having lots of witnesses that see you bring up this great idea. It means promoting yourself more, letting people know, and not in that, I was here till 11 o'clock last night thing, but more of, hey, I've been working on this project. Let me tell you all about it. People don't do enough of that. And I think especially women don't do enough of that, of like just putting together an email of all the things that you've been working on and sharing it with a manager or boss or CCing some people, just self-promotion. There is a big part about work is self-promotion. I have my own business, so I have to self-promote. Hello, that's why I'm here. But even if you work at a company and you're getting a salary, you constantly have to self-promote yourself within that company, right? People have to know who you are. So if someone's easily swooping in and stealing your ideas, I want you to ask yourself, how much am I really promoting myself? How much am I really talking about what I'm doing and what my good deeds are? And then the second thing that you can do is always take notes of what you said, when you said it, how you said it. Time, date, whatever. If you are riffing with one person and you come up with a great idea, make sure that you email it to that person and email it and CC someone else. Like have a paper trail that shows, this was my idea, this was my work, I'm the originator of it, and here it goes, right? Always have proof of that this was my idea, basically. And so you can take this a couple different ways. I highly recommend definitely doing the things that involve yourself, the work on you to ensure that you're promoting yourself, getting all the proof that you need, taking credit when you do, and ensuring that people know what you're contributing to the company. And then if you feel like I have to say something to this person, then I really urge you to be curious, ask questions, and then set a boundary about what it's going to look like moving forward. And if you're going to involve a manager, always make sure that you think through, what's the manager going to have to do afterwards? Am I okay with if this gets escalated somewhere else? All right, that's it for this week. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up or comment below. If you found this video helpful and think that someone else in your life would find it helpful, please share. And most of all, subscribe to my channel. I'm here every single Thursday. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.